Hello, my awesome scientist. So tonight we are going to look at some superstar strategies that we need to do anytime we come across a problem that involves light. And remember, our two big words when we talk about light are going to be reflection and refraction. So very quickly, let's review the meaning of those two words. So remember, light is going to travel in a straight line until it strikes a surface or an object. And depending on that type of surface and the properties of that surface, light will either reflect or refract. So reflection is when light hits a surface and bounces off. And refraction is when light goes through that surface and bends. So let's look at some star-like problems and the strategies that we should use when we are approaching a problem like this. Okay, so you're going to do these with me so that we are fully prepared for any question we may have that looks like this. Okay, so I do expect you to do the strategies that I do. You're going to do some with me, and then you're going to practice some on your own tonight that we will go over tomorrow. So let's look at our first question. Okay, so, Oops. Okay, so question number 1. All right, question number 1 says, give me 1 second. Okay, there we go. All right, so question number 1 says, the diagram shows the ways light travels or behaves when shown into water. Okay, which beam of light is the result of refraction? First thing we need to do is find that vocab word. Okay, what is our vocab word here? Okay, it is refraction. Okay, if you have highlighters, colored pencils, feel free to use different colors. If not, then just make sure you are doing the same thing I'm doing with your pencil. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is define refraction. So if we rewrite refraction like I taught you in class today, then we know we write the R with our 2 arrows like that, and that's reminding us that when refraction is when light goes through that surface and it's going to what? Bend. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to write is that refraction goes through the surface and bends. That key word is that the light is bending. Okay, so we're going to follow the light, the pathway from the light source for all 4 beams. Okay, so let's start with beam A. So I start at my flashlight, which is the source of the light, and I go all the way to A. Well, according to this, the light hit the surface and then it bounced back, right? Am I looking for bouncing? No, I'm looking for what? Bending. If the light is bouncing, that's what? Reflection. So I'm going to label choice A as reflect. I know I'm looking for refraction, so what am I going to say to choice A? Goodbye. All right, let's look at beam B. All right, so I start at my light source till I get to B. Notice we stayed in a straight line. When the light went through, okay, so we are looking for light going through, but the light stayed in a straight line when it went through, and all that is when light's been what? Transmitted. Okay, I'm looking for something special to happen after the light has been transmitted. So is that my answer choice? Absolutely not. So what am I going to say? Goodbye. All right, let's look at choice C. All right, so choice C, I hit the water, I go through the water, and it what? Bent. Okay, so here the light is bent, and if light is bending, then that is what? You're right, that is refraction. Okay, and is that what I'm looking for? Yes, so I'm going to put a question mark because I'm pretty sure that's what I'm looking for because that's what all of my proof that I've already done says. Let's look at our last beam. So the light hits the surface, it goes through, and then it bent. But look at the direction that it bent. Okay, it bent backwards. Okay, is the light going to hit the surface and then bend all the way backwards? No, that would be like it hit a surface, hit a mirror, and then reflected that way. So this is, if you narrow it down to choice C and D, because both of them are bending, which one would be the better choice? Which one shows what you have seen in class about how light bends when it passes through a surface like water? You're right. So the best choice here is going to be choice what? C. Okay, because that's the direction that light's going to bend. It's going to stay in a forward motion. It's not going to bend backwards. It's going to bend in that forward motion that it's already traveling. Okay? All right, so pause it and try number 2 on your own. And then when you think you've got it, press play, check your answer, make sure you have all the right strategies completed. Okay, so number 2. In the illustration below, a light bulb is shining above a bowl of water. The arrows show 4 possible behaviors of the light rays. Which one shows the behavior of light that is being reflected? Very similar to choice 1, isn't it? Very similar picture, same concept. It's traveling into water, but this is the key. You have a different vocab word. The last question asked you for refracted. This one is asking you for what? Reflected. And as you can see, these words are so similar that if you do not pick out that one letter difference, the L or the R, it's going to be wrong. You've got to look very carefully at which one it's asking for. So we're going to rewrite reflected with our special L, because that's reminding us that when light is reflected, it hits the surface and then what? Bounces off. Okay, so I'm going to define that very quickly. So reflected is when it bounces off. So I've got to find which one of these diagrams shows that. So let's start with W. W goes through the water in a straight line. Is that bouncing off? No, that's what? Transmit. And again, I'm going to label my answer choices so that I can just double check myself and prove it 100%. Okay, so am I looking for transmission? Nope. So what do I say? Goodbye. All right, let's look at choice B, which is X. X hit the surface and stopped. So if light hits the surface and stops, that's called what? Absorbing. And is the light, is that what I'm looking for? Nope, I'm looking for reflection. So what am I going to say? Goodbye. All right, let's look at choice Y. It hits the surface of the water, it goes through, and then it bends. And remember, you're more than welcome on your test to do these motions, okay? If they help you, please do them as long as you're not speaking and giving answers away. But you're more than welcome to do these motions. Okay, so choice Y is showing the light going through and bending, and that is which word? Refract. And is that what I'm looking for? Nope. So what do I say to choice C? Goodbye. All right, so let's look at our last choice. It hits the surface. It does not go through. Instead, it hits the surface of the water and bounces off. And I am looking for bounces off. And when it bounces off the surface, that is called reflection or reflect. And is that what I'm looking for? Absolutely. I proved it up here. I did my strategy, so I know my best answer is D. Okay? All right, so those are some types of problems you might see where you have to follow the path of the light. Other times they might give you a picture and some other clue words. So here it says students often use a hand lens to make small objects appear larger. A hand lens makes objects appear larger because the lens. And then it gives us some reasons. A couple of keywords here. You have a lens, and you know that that lens makes the objects appear larger. We did this in class yesterday and today. Okay, you saw what happens when light passes through this hand lens. First thing you know is that it's going to hit that lens, and then it's going to what? Go through it, and then it bends, and it makes the eye look what? Bigger. Okay? When light goes through and bends, that's what? Refraction. Okay, let me write with a darker color. There we go. That's refraction. Okay, refraction, remember, is when light goes through and bends. And remember, every object you looked at that refracted, most of them had a lens, and most of them changed how that object looked. So that's the two keys there. You've got a glass lens that makes objects look different. So that means the light's going through and bending. So that's what we need to look for in choice A, B, C, or D. I've already got the proof before I even read my answer choices. Choice A. Does the lens make objects look bigger because it increases the light strength? If it increases the light strength, then that means the light got brighter. Does the light get brighter when it goes through a hand lens? No. It just makes it the object look bigger. Okay, so is that my answer choice? Nope. So I'm going to say goodbye, because that is not refraction. Choice B, changes the color of the light. You've all looked through a hand lens. When you look through that hand lens, does it change the color of the light? Absolutely not. That is a very silly answer, isn't it? So I'm going to write silly next to it, and I'm going to say goodbye, because I'm not going to pick silly answers, am I? Choice C, does it bend light passing through it? Well, here's my keyword, refraction. I already proved it, because I have a lens. The light's going through that lens. It's bending and making the objects look bigger. It's bending, and the light is passing through it. This is refraction. And is that what I'm looking for? Absolutely. So I'm pretty sure that's going to be my answer. But just let me double check. Choice D, converts light energy to heat. Remember, converts just means to change. When light passes through that hand lens, does it suddenly change from light to heat? Are the things hotter on the other side of the hand lens? No, that's another what? Silly answer. So what am I going to say to choice D? Goodbye. And my best choice here is choice C. Okay? I know we did a lot of work here, and we did a lot of strategies, we did a lot of highlighting, we did a lot of writing, but I promise you it's going to be worth it, especially when you have two words, reflect and refract, that are so similar. You need to pick out those keywords. You need to define it. You can write the special L and the special R to help you. You can do the motions, but make sure you are looking at it super, super carefully and proving it to yourself. What I would like you to do now is try the last problem on the page by yourself using the strategies that we've been using, and we are going to check it and go over it tomorrow. So continue to study reflection and refraction, and have a wonderful night.